Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Right, so in this lesson I'm going to start to take a look at how we can target notes and some of the things we can do to achieve that. So the first thing we need to look at really is just the chord tones of like a major chord and its major scale. So an A major here at the 5th fret. So the chord tones from this A major. So we've got the 5th fret on the 6th string, which is the root of the A. Then on the 4th fret of the 5th string, that's the 3rd of the chord, which is the C sharp. The 7th fret of the A string, we have the 5th, which is the E. Even that sound already, the root 3rd and 5th is something we use all the time. So obviously that's very important. So then we have the 7th fret, the root again, on the 4th string. Then the 6th fret of the 3rd string, which is the 3rd chord of the chord, the C sharp again. And 5th fret of the 2nd string, which is the E, the 5th of the chord again. And then our root on the 5th fret of the 1st string. Obviously that can be continued. We'll just be really concentrating for the time being in kind of this position, maybe this C sharp also. Maybe even this low E. So the major scale, the A major. So what we're going to do to each note is kind of in relation to these notes from the major scale. So for example, let's take just our root, the 5th fret on the 6th string. So what we do is to each of these chord tones we play just one semitone below and then one scale tone above. So one semitone below is just a note a fret below. Nothing to think about more than just that, simply a fret below. Which, of course, needs to be used more in context, but even that, we also have, now a new idea we can explore with just one note. Don't think about the, why too much of the note below, just accept it's just something we can do. So now we can also play a scale tone above. So a scale tone above the A in A major. That's just the second note of our scale. So we have this B. So now, rather than immediately playing just the A, I can play the note below the A, the note we've chosen to play above. I could play the A on its own and then target that by playing those other two notes. And that can also be done the other way around, so I could play the higher note first, then the lower note, and then our target. So now the C sharp on the 5th string, so that's at the 4th fret. So we play one note below. Then one scale tone above. This time it's not 2 frets, it's only 1 fret above. There's our C sharp, here's our next scale tone. So if we play those two notes, the one below, then the scale tone above, and then our target. Or above, below, and then the target. So effectively, if I'm just playing the, you know, those chord tones, but now I can just embellish those. And here's our the fifth of our chord. So at the seventh fret's on the fifth string, so one note below, and one scale tone above. I play the scale this way. That's our F sharp. So we just look at that here. So our target. So one below, one above, and then the target. Or above, below, and then the target. Our seventh fret on the fourth string, our root. So one note, one chromatic note below, and then one scale tone above and into the target. Or above, below, and target. In fact, you can also, if we play our root, the third, and then we target the fifth of our chord with the below, above, and then the target, well, you'll hear. So even that melody itself, you know, when you realise just what's happening, it's not something, you know, out of the ordinary. It's just a simple idea of targeting a note, but from we do it one chromatic step below, one scale tone above, and then into the chord tone, or the other way around, the scale tone above, chromatic below, and then scale tone, then the root. Sorry, the target. So now the third string, so we're on the sixth fret, which is the third of our chord. So S chromatic below, scale tone above, same here, which was at the same notes. As you can see, if we look at this in relation to our blues scale, this note is the minor third, which we use a lot anyway, you know, going into our major third. But it's still a chromatic semitone below our chord tone, then one scale tone above, or above, below, and target. And fifth fret on the second string, so chromatic step below, one scale tone above, which again is the same as here. The Simpsons thing. Then our root. Then if we decided our C sharp here again, the third of the chord, so one below. So I typically have been doing those sort of below, above, and then the target. But yeah, and remember, it can also be the other way around: above, below, and then the target. So another couple of notes we need to look at, because we use these a lot, is the sixth of the chord, which in A is this F sharp, which we typically always hear in. Another note will be the seventh of the chord, or the flat seventh, sorry. So first of all, so this sixth of the chord, which is also here, which we... So if we treat that with the same kind of idea, if we want to target this sixth of the chord, so we play one step below, then one scale tone above, which in A is the G sharp, which is the natural seventh, not the flat seventh. So that can sound great and that can work. So that's one option. If we want to treat this note, the sixth, in different contexts, when we have the flat seventh playing as well, that sixth becomes a 13th rather than. I think of that, this F sharp done as a 13th, because we have the 7th here. Well, maybe I'll play, rather than the scale tone from A major, I'll play the flat 7th, which is from our blues scale. So here's our target, the F sharp. So one chromatic step below, and then I'm thinking this time of the blues scale. So here's our G, the flat 7. So. And yeah, that's kind of some of the more basic ones. Well, yeah, here's the flat 7th. We could do something similar. So our 8th fret on the 2nd string, which is the flat 7th of the chord. We play one step below, which is what we've been playing a lot, this F sharp, which is our 6th, but it doesn't matter. We're just thinking now of this flat 7th as our target, one scale note above, which happens to be our A, which is our root. So the notes surrounding this G, this flat 7th, are notes we're using anyway, so that's great. So rather than ascend and hit this flat 7, the G, like that. Target the G and give that kind of treatment, then target the F sharp immediately, maybe choose to do obviously the blues kind of version. Now because that target note, because when I was thinking of the G here, and that was my target, well, when I'm thinking of this note below as my target, this G becomes the note above that, so maybe I could, rather than think of this target note here and think below, above, and the target. Well, I've already played the G, so there's my above, and then I'll play below, and then the target. So here's my G, which I'm aiming for. So I'll play. It's my target. So I'm playing above, below, and then the target. My target here is actually the note above my next target, so I won't play that again. I'll just play below, and then the next target. So this is just a little pickup note, just this E. It's not part of what I'm trying to explain. And then into. So what I'm trying to get across, I'm really not thinking at all about any kind of clever, relationships between scales and chords. I'm just thinking about the most basic kind of chord tones or little extensions, the 6th or the 13th or the flat 7th, even the 9th, which are just, meat and potatoes kind of standard stuff. There's nothing special, but it's just how we can approach them is what can make these notes pop out a little more. So in order to do that, let's just take a look at, a typical thing like... So that's something I think we're all comfortable with, making sure even just with one note or two notes, it really kind of swings. So that's here. We're always using that when we're playing around with the blues scale. We're almost in that position anyway, but now we can use this kind of rhythm, but in this position. And here at the, always find an excuse to use a little double stop just to flesh it out more. And I like to, we can always play a note, a half step below and then into the note again, like I like to do here with the root. this typical hammer on here, which, as we've seen from that previous kind of, targeting the notes, with a lot of these, we're playing the chromatic note below anyway. I choose to sort of start this and target my roots because I'm going to be playing with a slightly more, some of the more major notes. I kind of introduce it with the more bluesy introduction by hitting the flat seventh. I could easily choose the sixth here, or even a step below. But I like the idea of starting with the flat seventh, and then when I hit my root and I'm playing the chromatic step below, I'm just working in this small little group here. So looking at this rhythm again. So if you've seen, if you watched any of my previous dominant ninth videos, so one of the most typical dominant ninth kind of arpeggio is here. So we're on the 7th fret of the 4th string, then the 6th fret of the 3rd string, which is our root and 3rd. Then we go to the 5th of our chord, but that's on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. And 8th fret of the 2nd string, the flat 7th of our scale, and then the 9th, which is on the 7th fret of the 1st string. So I might choose to do those 4 bars before we hit a 4 chord. Obviously, you want to play around with those rhythms a little bit, but just to get that into your fingers, just, don't worry about the notes, just try and follow and swing along with, the typical rhythms we use. So, here's the 3rd of our chord. And perhaps rather than hitting that 3rd, maybe I'll target it by playing this time 1 above, 1 below, and then the target. And when I do these things, I don't worry about modifying the rhythm of the notes to try and, so that the note I was thinking about hits in the same position. I want some of these outside notes to fall in places which, you're not really expecting. So that's why it's important really to record yourself as much as you can and listen to these new ideas when you listen to the playback. You're listening completely differently rather than, when you're actually playing this stuff and thinking a little bit more. So, and also that AMO, I always like to just a step below into it, thinking about nothing other than the target. But maybe I'll use that as a kind of springboard into the 9th arpeggio. We look at this part of the arpeggio. That's actually like we were saying, it's a 9th. We know these 9ths are always with the same shape, just two steps below a 6th. So we take this shape, which is also like an E minor, but that's for another day. So 7th fret on the 1st string, 8th of the 2nd, 9th of the 3rd. Our kind of A9, move that up 2 steps. In context with the A note, that's now our A6. So from being in this position, we're know, kind of catapulted up here, and we're really still using just basic chord tones. Maybe start to incorporate some of this targeting. And, you know, if this is our A6, is our A9, well, we could move into that chromatically. I just play each string, you know, I'm just moving up that arpeggio. I'm moving to the A6th. So play the first string, second string, third string, and then I'm moving down each note a semitone, but I'll play through those and go from the third, second, first. So I'll passing chord and now into the ninth shape again and go first string, second, third. Which kind of brings me back down to where I started. So my piece, which I started with, so I'm leading from the 7th fret, 5th string to the 5th fret on the 4th string, then 7th, 6th, 7 on the 4th, then hammer on from the 5th to the 6th on the 3rd, and then 5th fret on the 7th to the 7th on the 2nd. I choose to go back to this major 3rd and use that as a kind of, again, a little springboard into... My target is this high A, but I like to, like I said, use some opportunities to play another double stop. Maybe play that twice. And 7th fret the 2nd string again. Or even flatten that a bit, maybe catch the 7th fret on the 1st and 2nd strings. The idea is not to think too much, just really let that be a consequence of just how you're playing whatever note you catch. And then I'm kind of making a little bar over this just to prepare, but really I'm sort of just going for the 5th fret to the 6th on the 3rd string. So sort of end on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. Now before I start this kind of idea again, I play that 5th fret on the 2nd string again, just as a kind of a little pickup, so a little drop to drop me back to this first note. Let's see. Starts the same again. Now this time I want to go to this, you know, the 6th or the 13th of our chord, the 7th fret on the 2nd string, but I'll target that. So I've got, so I'll play one above, which is our flat 7th, then one below, and then a target. Then I play the 8th fret on the 1st string, our flat 3. So just because we use, you know, in the middle of this little chromatic idea and some of these other notes which have a kind of a major sound, I want to just include a little bit of sort of blues spice. Because now we're going to do some more kind of this targeting with some more sort of scale notes. So I really am thinking flat 3 to the root. But I'll target the root by playing below, then the one scale above, which is also the 9th of our scale, and then the root. So, and then I kind of come down, I'll play the 6th again. Then our typical flat 3 to 3. And then, but I'll use that because the third of our chord is also one step below the root of our next chord, which is we're now moving to the 4 chord, the D. So now I'm on my D, thinking again of a kind of a D9. So I can use any of these notes from the 5th fret on the first 3 strings, or the 7th fret. And if I want to, I can use the chromatic note in between. So we move. I kind of use, if I'm playing the 7th fret on one string, I'll then play the 5th fret on the next string, then the 7th fret. So I move into this 4 chord, the 7th fret of the 3rd string, so then I play the 5th fret of the 2nd, and then 7th fret, 5th fret of the 1st string, and then 7th fret of the 2nd string. And then this time I want the 5th fret of the 3rd string. That sounds like something, doesn't it? Excellent, so you can also play rainbow. So. And now my next note, the 7th fret of the 4th string, our chord tone. I'm aiming for the 4th fret of the 4th string, which is the 3rd of our chord, another chord tone. We're on our D, so it's just this. But I'll just go there chromatically. And then there's our root, and I'll just move that chromatically to the flat 7th. We can always do that. So now I'm thinking about moving back to our 1 chord. And I'll just play the... Because I've been doing some sort of a lot of movement, this chromatic motion, I want something, I feel as though to balance that, just something a little bit more lazy, which introduces the next idea, which sort of is even quicker than this part, which is not quick, but it's just a way of just always adding a little bit of contrast. So... But, so into that I'm just playing the low E, kind of a little quarter tone bend on the 3rd fret of the 6th string, and into A. So that's, anyway, I've been rambling on for quite a lot. So you should really check, these ideas out. And what I'll do is I'll make the second half of this tutorial, and I'll make some tabs for this, for the solo at the start and a backing track. And if you're interested, I'll put those on my Patreon page. So, yeah, if you enjoyed this and you want to explore a little bit more like this, you should check it out. And like I said before, record yourself as much as you can to test out these ideas, and just try and listen back and... start to take note of some of these things where they just pop out a little bit, and explore and try to explore, sort of reverse engineer them, what you did to get there. And you'll start to see these things opening up more. Like this, the dominant 9th idea, you can just sort of put that in place of the rhythm of this, what we use all the time. So even that, which is almost nothing, but it just changes the flavour a little bit just before we hit the 4 chord, which is, another thing to always think about. That's where we can sort of increase the tension, just add a bit more spice. So, right, well, that's it. I'll leave it there. So, yep, thanks for watching, and take care, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.